also is to lobby government to create a conducive environment for businesses to thrive and to operate to their maximum potentials. So the issue of this MOU began in 2021, I think immediately after the riots. We got in touch with the Department of Small Business Development to look at how best can we create a conducive environment for small businesses. A working team was established to look at what benefits or how Romani, can you this guys? A working team was established to look at ways to provide relief to franchise small businesses. From that point, we realized that there were issues that our members were engaging or encountering when they apply for funding with SEDFA and support from SEDA. Having had that kind of experience and conversation with our members, we had to escalate the issue to the minister. As we were doing around the country trips, we happened to meet the Minister of Small Business and Development, Minister Stelanda and Abrams. Then we laid our problems on the desk. Then she organized a working team within the department, and we started working on this relationship since 2022. We finalized the draft agreement and presented it to the minister at our conference in 2023. Unfortunately, there was a different view from the minister. We had to go back to the drawing board. Now, from that time, we managed to agree on certain activities and responsibilities for both FASA and the now new established entity, which is SEDFA, or yes, because now the whole issue is to look at how dealing with the issues. Then let's look at the issues. The issues one is to create a better ways of funding. We have to innovate in how we fund businesses. Two, better way of handling applications for funding. Three, providing training to small businesses that want to upscale into franchising. And fourthly, to train and support those businesses. Because the issue now, why are we having this MOU? Currently, franchising in South Africa contributes 15% to the GDP. You may think it's a lot, it's not, because we only contribute around 999 billion. If you look at international trends, franchising contributes around 40% to 60% of the GDP. So we are still at the low base. So, and on the other hand, we are complaining about a lack of employment, lack of job opportunities, lack of investment opportunities, and so forth. But we have a system that we can actually use. Thirdly, in terms of our survey conducted in 2022, we realized that only 20% of women participate in franchising. And to that end, we are concerned in that we have the majority of women entrepreneurs who are willing and able to invest in this sector, but they don't know, some they fall into steps, some they don't know proper research and all that stuff. So what we have done, we have established and promoted a formal training, which is called Franchise Manager Special Training Module. So along that line, we want to use it in line with this MOU to train and improve on the skills plan or knowledge for entrepreneurs who wants to get into franchising. Thirdly, one of the issues that we have identified why we have this MOU is because we are leaving our youth behind. We are taking along franchising in terms of established brands and up-and-coming SMMEs, but we are leaving the youth behind, which are in fact our future. So we have to bring up on programs that actually promote youth to participate in franchising, because as we build the base, we should also bring up the youth in order to open up the space. And lastly, why we have this MOU is because there are stringent funding requirements from other funding or financing institutions. So we are looking at other areas that could actually help and not find funding as a barrier to entry. Because the complaints that we are getting is that formal funding institutions, their funding requirements are stringent, and as such, it becomes very difficult for entrepreneurs to buy into existing businesses or for businesses to upscale from being small businesses to formal franchise businesses. So that is why we have this MOU. I think that we will hand over to the DSBD, who will give us more insights into why have they decided to partner with FASA and to drive the economy of this country forward and to create jobs in order for our economy to grow. I believe members who attended this forum have had access to the agenda. So I will hand over to Mr. Philip Pasha from the Department of Small Business Development to take us through some of the most important aspects of this MOU. We acknowledge the chairperson of FASA who is here, Mr. Ayabulela Njingolo, who will also do the closing. Then immediately after Mr. Patla, we're going to hand over to Mr. Ngogwane from SEDFA, who will take us about what are the offering, what new activities or which activities we should look up to in terms of our journey. I just like to add that this is not the first and the only and the last engagement that we are going to have with you guys. We are going to have various avenues, workshops, online meetings, physical meetings to engage and really concretize what we are trying to do here. This is very important. This is groundbreaking because I think that we've been working on this for far too long, and now we need to see that it comes to fruition. Mr. Philip Patla, I hand over to you to take us through some of the milestones of this MOU. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ntatemagatu. I'm not sure if I'm audible to the audience.
You are, thanks, Philip.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? I had to unshare, I had to stop your share screen. So could you reshare the screen? Fred was still speaking. So for the presentation, you can reshare. Thanks, Philip.
All right, no, thank you very much. Just to indicate that Ntatemagatu has already covered a lot of ground, but just by way of introduction, I must indicate that my name is Philip Patla from Department of Small Business Development. As you are aware that we are responsible for the creation of an enabling environment through MSME policy development and the program design. We are also responsible for monitoring and evaluation of all SMME support intervention in the country. So how we are configured is that we are assisted by our agency, SEDFA, or Small Enterprise Development and Finance Agency, in terms of discharging our mandate, because at the departmental level, we are focusing on the provision of policy direction, and then implementation is ceded to SEDFA. So, as indicated by Ntatemagatu, so we have concluded a memorandum of understanding with FASA in terms of which we want FASA to assist us in terms of cultivating a credible pipeline of MSMEs that can be funded by our agency, SEDFA. Also indicate that one of the reasons why we are forming strategic partnerships with various role players to ensure that we improve coordination in the MSME sector, eliminate duplication of effort, and then stretch the rents and cents. So basically, the work that we are doing also is also anchored on the MSME and cooperative funding policy that was developed by the department. It was approved by cabinet on the 18th of September 2024 for implementation by both public and private sectors. So I'll just take you through the presentation. Okay, so this is the outline. I'm not going to go through it. So I've already introduced this body of work to say that our department was established in 2014 and mandated to lead and coordinate an integrated approach to the promotion and development of entrepreneurship in the country. So this ministry was established in recognition of the important role that is played by MSMEs in the economy. They contribute to job creation, they contribute to economic growth, they assist in terms of reducing income disparities. And then we are discharging or implementing our mandate through SEDFA. So SEDFA is reporting to the department through governance arrangement that gives the agency an autonomy that falls within the parameters of the DSPD mandate and also informed by government policies and priorities. So the purpose of this is just to inform stakeholders about the contents of the MSME and cooperative funding policy, and also to provide an update on the implementation of the MSME and cooperative funding policy, and also identify strategic partners for implementation of the MSME and cooperative funding policy. So in terms of the history of the work that we are doing as the department, so there was an evaluation that was commissioned relating to integrated strategy for the promotion of entrepreneurship and small enterprises, SPESED, to assess the support towards SMMEs in 2018. And then one of the findings of the evaluation revealed that there is a need for the development of a high-level MSME policy. And then the findings of the evaluation were translated into the MSME and cooperative funding policy, which was also a directive from cabinet as part of the 2019-24 medium-term strategic framework that the Department of Small Business Development must develop MSME and cooperative funding policy to make development finance accessible to MSMEs and cooperatives in the country. And then, as indicated previously, so the final version of the MSME and cooperative funding policy was approved by Cabinet on the 18th of September 2024, and it was gazetted on 13 February 2025 for implementation. So on this slide, we're just showing the global and South African MSME landscape. So the world, there's a population of 65 million MSMEs. These MSMEs represent majority of businesses in the world and contribute to job creation and global economic development. They represent 90% of the businesses and more than 50% of employment worldwide. And then the credit gap in the MSME sector worldwide is reported to be 8.9 trillion. From the South African perspective, we are having an estimated 2.6 million entrepreneurs running 3.9 million MSMEs, meaning that some of these entrepreneurs, they are running more than one, operating more than one business. And then MSME, they contribute 2 to 3 million formal full-time jobs in the country. And then a significant portion of these jobs created by MSME are attributed to entrepreneurs themselves identifying as being employed by the enterprise, meaning that if you have established a and a business, then we start counting from yourself as an employee of that a particular business. And then South African SMMEs contribute 40% towards the gross domestic product of the economy. And then in the context of South Africa, so credit gap is reported to be 590 billion. So these statistics are emanating from the FinScope as well as the IFC research papers. So in terms of the challenges to access to finance, so we are saying that the government has invested significant resources to support MSME, and then despite this government effort, financial support and interventions that are available in the country remain uncoordinated and fragmented. There is also lack of evidence-based funding instrument linked to a business development life cycle, meaning that if we were to provide funding support, it should not be as generic. Even if we provide non-financial support, it should be a generic. In the case of FASA, it should be franchise-specific support. All these issues, they contributed to the low survival rates of MSME as well as the stagnant growth. So in terms of the study that was done by Mutende as part of the longitudinal study commissioned by the Department of Small Business Development, access to finance was flagged as one of the most felt needs of MSMEs that represent about 63.62 percentage points. So a key impediments to the extension of credit to MSME sector is that in most cases find that commercial banks are viewing MSME as a higher risk borrowers because they do not have a collateral that they can pledge as security for loans. And in some instances, find that they are still struggling with the issue of financial literacy. They are not able to keep financial records that can be used by financiers to access their eligibility for credit as well as affordability. And then lending model that are used by DFIs have also adopted the profit-oriented approach with imposed strict restrictions on loan applications. This has resulted in market failures that made the system not to operate optimally. And then there is also an issue of credit extension to SMME, being perceived to be attracting high cost because of the small amount of loans that are being requested by MSMEs. That makes it expensive for financiers to underwrite. And then this sector is also dominated by bad credit histories. And then all these challenges have led to a situation where almost no lending is extended to the macro and small categories of enterprises because they request funding that is normally below the threshold. As you all know, most of DFIs, their funding start from 50,000 upwards, and then 50,000 and below, then all these MSMEs have to rely on either friends, family, relatives, and microfinance institutions to secure funding. So then what is the solution? We are saying that the only solution is the implementation of the MSME and cooperative funding policy in order to provide a holistic, coordinated, and pragmatic framework for strengthening the provision of development finance for MSME and cooperatives sectors. So the aims of this is to ensure that there is accessibility, MSME are able to access funding, and then we reach unserved and underserved areas. And then there's also scale in terms of the funding intervention, and then we are achieving impact. So the expected outcome is that we will have inclusive financial sector, sustainable MSME sector, employment creation, economic growth, poverty reduction, as well as reduction of income inequality. All of these are forming part of the South African government imperatives. So in this section, then we will, I will take you through the EU, the funding proposals, as well as the progress on the implementation of some of the policy proposals. Number one, the policy is proposing that we need to improve coordination in the MSME and cooperative access to finance ecosystem. And this is aimed at ensuring that we improve coordination and defragment the sector. So we have already, as the DSPD, established what we call the Stakeholder Engagement Forum, wherein the financiers meet and discuss all these funding issues that need to be attended to, the issues of introduction of common applications and business plan templates are being discussed by financiers in this platform. And then the department is also an active participant in the Financial Sector Development and Reform Program, FSRDP2. This is the program that is sponsored by the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs. And then all these reforms that are being proposed under this program, we are assisted by International Finance Corporation, which is a division of the World Bank. And then we use these platforms to discuss matters of common interest as they relate to financial issues. And then the issue of database of small businesses is one of the policy proposals. So the department is in the process of implementing what we call the DSPD Connect platform, which they able to collect and collate business statistics in the country so that we can have a database of all MSMEs so that even when we plan interventions, we know how much budget will be required, how many MSMEs are we targeting. And then also they improve the provision of startup capital as recommendation number 3. So on this one, we are collaborating with the Department of Trade and Industry to implement the Transformation Fund. And then this Transformation Fund is aimed at addressing the market failures, including limited access to startup funding. Both the DTSC and department hosted a business breakfast on 5 May 2025 to inform stakeholders about the Transformation Fund. And then there is a draft concept paper on this fund that is available on DTSC website. And then the closing date for submission of written comments is 7 May 2020. And it was 7 May 2025. So I must indicate that the Democrat was also a part to this engagement on the business breakfast on the Transformation Fund. So the Transformation Fund will be rolled out in collaboration with the public and private sector role players for the benefit of MSMEs and cooperatives. Recommendation number 4 is talking about targeted funding instruments for MSMEs and cooperatives. So here the stakeholders indicated that the Department of Small Business Development, in partnership with other role players like FASA, should assist in determining what funding instruments are required for the life cycle of small enterprises and create an enabling environment in which these services can be provided to all MSMEs and cooperatives. So in terms of the progress, so we are in the process of generating the national entrepreneurship strategy to guide all the funding interventions in terms of the programs that need to be prioritized. And then the DSPD has recently concluded a memorandum of agreement with Franchise Association of South Africa with a view to provide franchise-specific financial and non-financial support to members of Franchise Association of South Africa. And then recommendation number 5 is to improve business development support so that we can de-risk funding to MSMEs SEDFA is providing business development support through its network of regional offices and incubators as part of this recommendation. And then to date, 126 incubators were established countrywide, and the department has embarked on the process of developing the incubation and business development services policy, because there were concerns from stakeholders that there are issues with regards to the quality of the business development support that is being rendered by BDS providers in the country, and that is impacting negatively on the survival of MSMEs. And then there is also the recommendation on the risking of MSME finance through credit guarantee. On this one, we are working with SEDFA to reconfigure a cooler credit guarantee with the technical support from World Bank, and then the latest diagnostic report was generated to guide the review process. And then there is another reform that is being proposed in the form of movable asset collateral registry. On this one, the department is working with the World Bank as well and other role players to implement a movable asset collateral registry. As we all know, that in South Africa, the only form of collateral that is accepted as security for loan is notarial bonds or immovable property. So now we want to wish to broaden the asset classes that can be used as security for loans to include items that are normally owned by MSMEs in the form of stock, the cash and cash equivalents, account receivables, livestock, machinery, equipment, and others. So we have onboarded the relevant stakeholders, including National Credit Regulator, Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, National Treasury, SEDFA, South African Reserve Bank, and other relevant role players to form a part of the steering committee that was constituted. And then this steering committee is assisted by 3 subcommittees, namely legal, to take care of legal matters, movable asset collateral registry to conduct feasibility studies to identify the host of the system and how the system should be supported, and then awareness and sensitization work stream to create awareness about this the project and respond to any other issues that or concerns that might be emanating from the potential beneficiaries. And then all this, the steering committee and subcommittee, they're operating based on written terms of reference. And then we are busy finalizing the cooperation agreement with the IFs. So there is also a proposal to establish a simplified business registration legal process for winding up. On this one, Department of Justice and IFC, they're working together to implement the South African insolvency regime for MSMEs so that we can give them a second chance. Credit information system for small businesses is needed. As we all know, currently what is being collected by the credit bureau is the information about the individuals, and when MSME wants to borrow money, they are not assessed as a juristic person, they are assessed in their capacity as a natural person. So there is no separation of 2 legal personalities, the natural person and the legal person. So the DSPD is collaborating with South African Credit and Risk Reporting Association to collect business credit data for including the SMMEs. So this project is aimed at reducing information asymmetries that exist between the lenders and borrowers. So information asymmetry, we are referring to a situation wherein you find that an SMME approaches a financier for funding, but the information that is being requested by the financier is not available on the MSMEs, or there is an information that is available, but one of the parties is not aware of that information. So aim here is to improve access to credit and enhance the functioning of the supply of credit, and then eliminate credit rationing. So there is also this issue of cash flow constraints that are caused by delayed payments. So the department is in the process of establishing Ombud service to deal with issues that will be affecting MSMEs from the delayed payments perspective, as well as the contractual issues. And then there is a recommendation about affordable and appropriate insurance for small businesses and cooperatives. As you have noted or observed, during the COVID pandemic, most SMMEs were faced with the prospect of business closure because they did not have appropriate insurance to cushion them against the effects of COVID-19 pandemic associated with the lockdowns that were imposed by the government. So those who had business interruption insurance, they were able to survive. Others were survived through the grants that were provided by the government, and some they were assisted with programs like the debt relief program, so that they're able to survive, so that we prevent business closure and also protect the government investment that was already made in the MSME concern, but there were not enough funding to cover all the MSMEs. Unfortunately, others had to lose their operations. So on this one, we are deliberating with the insurers so that they can focus on designing appropriate insurance products for MSMEs. I'm trying to move my slides, so they are no longer moving. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, okay. And then recommendation number 12 is to improve and monitor the MSMEs and cooperative access to finance market. So here we are having Small Enterprise Development and Finance Agency serving as a one-stop shop. There is also recommendation about improving formal MSMEs access to finance ecosystem. We are implementing programs like MEDP, and then we are also working with the Finmark Trust, International Finance Corporation, to implement what we call a formalization project aimed at creating formalization pathways for MSMEs. But I must qualify this proposals to say, while we wish to see most MSME being formal, we will not be forcing any MSME to be formal. We will still have support interventions for both informal and formal enterprises, because some of the MSMEs indicated that they prefer to stay in the informal as opposed to being formalized. Yeah, there is a struggle. Okay. And then the creation of accessible funding instrument for targeted groups. Here we are saying that we need to have dedicated programs targeting youth, women, and persons with disabilities. And then we must also incorporate digital financial services in MSME and cooperative access to finance. And then also improve microfinance institution to capacity to deliver. So as I've already indicated, we are working with various stakeholders, including organizations representing microfinance institutions, and then to ensure that the members are able to access funding that cannot be accessed from DFIs because of the small funding quantums requested. So currently we're working with Small Enterprise Foundation and Pakamani Foundation as one of the intermediaries that are assisting SEDFA to discharge its mandate as part of the wholesale lending activities. And then also improve cooperatives' access to finance. We have a cooperatives development support program that was designed to cater for these cooperatives. So that is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Fred, over to you. Fred? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Romani. We are waiting for Mr. Zolisanani Ngobongwana from SEDFA to present. He's still in a meeting, but then we will hop along. And I think from my side, I'll just align what we intend on doing. I think as soon as he's available, he'll come through. Then he will do the presentation. And thereafter, we'll have questions and answers. As you'll have seen from Mr. Patla's presentation, one of the major issues is we have received complaints that SEDFA then, because this sometimes a new agency, is the new structure that the department put in place as a process of trying to deal with red tape and all manner of things that we've been complaining about. Our experience is that applications for funding will take longer than expected to finalize, if finalized, and at some point not being finalized, and at some point being lost in the system, and at some point not knowing who to follow up with. And that created lots of frustrations. Because we understand that franchising relies heavily in terms of speed. Insofar as identification of sites is concerned, identification of space, and access to funding to start operating in terms of the timelines. In my engagements with our members, we realized that they have lost hope in getting any funding or finance assistance for their potential franchisees, and most importantly, for the approved for franchisees to get business opportunities and create jobs. So our engagement with the minister was quite clear that we have frustrations, because when we showed the stats and understanding that one franchise site can employ between 20 to 24 to 40 individuals, that means bread on the table for plus minus for 48 heads of families. And then we understand that this is important. Zolisan is here. I think I will hand over to him to proceed. Zolisan, thank you for joining us. We started to panic, and I was just laying the foundation as to why we are here. Zolisan, please take over and proceed with your presentation.
Okay, Zani, you are on the screen now. I'm just busy unmuting.
Morning, colleagues. Yes, thank you. I'm trying to share my presentation for now. Please let me know when you see it.
Yes, we can.
Good morning, colleagues. First of all, I would like to apologize for joining late. I was stuck in another meeting. It took more than I had expected. My name is Zolisanani Ngobongwana. I am from the Small Enterprise Development Finance Agency, SEDFA. It's a measure between the old SEFA and SEDA to form one entity. I'm going to share with you the opportunities available at SEDFA and the funding support side. At SEDFA, we have two departments. One is focusing on business development support, and then the other side is focusing on the funding side, or what we call investment. From the direct lending division, where we lend directly to the SMEs. The rationale or the reason behind these two entities emerging is to make sure that we continue playing a big role in empowering our SMEs to make sure that they grow and they transform and then they become sustainable. Through sustainability, then they'll bring employment. Our mission is to promote and coordinate the SME development ecosystem and also deliver targeted financial and non-financial support for both cooperative institutions, corporate banking institution, and also direct SMEs, and also strengthen the capacity of intermediaries. The value that we bring is integrity, entrepreneurial passion, customer-centric excellence, agility, and resilience. This is our funding model. I'm not going to dwell too much on it because of the time constraints. Under SEDFA, we have two funding models. One is called wholesale lending. The other one is called direct lending channel, which I indicated I'm from. Under wholesale lending, this is where we fund an intermediary that has their own clients, mostly in agriculture, because we are not that much versed on that sector. And also we have the direct lending support. Then this is where we fund directly to the SME. And these are the funding instruments that are available at SEDFA. One is called asset finance. This is through an installment sale. This is similar to what the bank gives, where when you purchase a vehicle, the vehicle will belong to the bank up until it's fully paid. The vehicle must have insurance. The vehicle must have a tracker. And then this is quite similar to what we offer at SEDFA. And then also under this installment sale, we fund the machineries, the equipment that you require into your business for franchising, for businesses like franchises, where then the setup of the store, your fridges, your cookers, and your point of sale, then they will fall, computers and stuff, they will fall under the installment sale agreement. Then we have what you call a term loan. A term loan, let's say now you have received agreement from the franchisor, and then they say, look, you can run a franchise, go out there and look for funding. And then this is where we will then fund the purchase of the funding rights, of the franchising rights under the term loan. And then also under the term loan, you'll pay for salaries, rental, and any other cost that doesn't form part of the installment sale. And then we have a revolving facility, which is not applicable to the people at the platform, but a revolving facility is more for people that are in the construction sector, where you are running a program, you are running a project, and then you run out of funds, and then you're still waiting for whichever department you're working with to pay you. Then you can come to us and then access this facility. And then after a department or you're working with pays you, then you can pay us. And then we have a bridging loan. Is for those that purchase orders. We are required to supply a certain product, then we can use a purchase order. Under the purchase order will require a session, which in some cases is very difficult to get. Then we'll ask for a joint bank account where then a SEDFA employee will be allocated to monitor the bank account and also assist you with transacting, so that make sure when the money comes in, you are able to pay us and all your other creditors up until then the purchase order or bridging loan has been paid. We also have commercial properties under SEDFA, where if there is a space available, then the SME can utilize it. These are eligibility criteria: that must be a natural person, that a South African citizen with a South African identity document as per the BBBE Act of number 53 of 2003, and also be a juristic person. That means your company must be registered, be it a PTY or an LTD. We do not also fund cooperative, but we do not fund non-profit organizations. They are not allowed to take credit, but we do support them when they host events for their SMEs. Also, your operations must be within South African borders. Staff complement consists of 90% South African citizens. You must be operationally involved in your business. We have seen where people, after funding, they remove themselves from the business and they do not know what is happening around their business, and then the employees do as they please and the business collapses. Also, the project must show a level of development impact as per the SEDFA corporate plan, such as job creation, job maintenance, and economic empowerment. Also, your project must show an ability to repay the loan, and also your ownership must be at least 51% Black. And then risk-taking by the entrepreneur is welcome through own financial contribution, equity, and personal suretyships. But this is when these instruments are available. They are not enforceable. But then when we assess your application, we do look at such if you can contribute something, or if you have any other securities that can de-risk the loan portion side of the funding. These are exclusions, but I'm not speculative real estate, where you buy a property, you renovate, you sell it, we don't involve. But then if you have, you want to operate it from, like for manufacturing, then we can buy that property for you. Speculative trading and hedging, we're not involved. Political parties, we do not fund. People under debt review, unrehabilitated insolvents, as well as business that are under business rescue or liquidation, we do not fund. However, if you are just merely listed by the creditor, we allow you to go and negotiate new payment terms with the creditor, and then you pay for at least 3 months, and then you bring us the letter of arrangement plus the payments that you have made for 3 months. Then we can be able to assess your application. Also, this must be done before you start with the application process, because when we receive your application, our system runs credit checks. Then you can be rejected in these terms if you are found any listing. But if you go to your creditors and negotiate a new payment term and start paying, then at least by the time you apply, your credit status is favorable. Arms and ammunition related transactions of child labor. We do not fund businesses that promote child labor. Transactions that do not contribute positively to a business to development impact as per SEDFA corporate plan. We do not involve morally reprehensible sectors. We do not fund, which is alcohol, gambling, prostitution. However, let's say you are running a franchise that sells both food and alcohol. The alcohol part must be at least 20% of your revenue. It must not be above that. Then we can be able to fund you. Let's say you have received a spa franchise rights, and then you want to run, you also been given to run a tops. We will fund the tops side also, but most of the revenue must come from the food or the retail side, but the alcohol side has to be lesser. Businesses that transgress tax, accounting, and regulatory requirements. We also, where SEDFA employee or board members has a financial interest, which we do not fund. Individuals that are listed under SEDFA, ITC, or any other DFI as delinquents, we do not fund. This is where a person takes a loan or gets a funding from ITC, NEF, or any other institution and don't pay. and then come and then apply for funding at SEDFA. We do cross checks, and then we won't fund you if we find that you are not working together well with those organizations. Also, for those that want to acquire a franchise, if the franchise is an existing franchise, maybe the owner is exiting, and then we do not fund if the business is loss-making without any prospect of being financially sustainable. If then there's a turnaround plan and the turnaround plan makes sense, then we can look at it. These are the programs that are available for franchises that are in the township. Let's say those that are under R1 million, we can fund them as long as they show sign of viability, as there are different thresholds within the franchising space. Usually cost of production inputs, material, equipment, machinery and tools. It's the setup of the store where we come in, put in the counters, the fridges, the shelves, the cookers. And for those that are involved in the restaurant space, this is where we fund. This is what we fund: working capital, rent, which includes rent, assistance with compliance and technical improvements, business and financial management training, and also facilitate market access. We do not bring market access to you. We assist you through training for market access. As I indicated, the financial support is up to R1 million. This money goes towards working capital, cost of equipment, as I indicated. On the right-hand corner there, that's how the funding is split. If, let's say, you require 100,000, 50,000 will be a loan, 50,000 will be a grant, 150, 75 loans, 75,000 grant. Then at 250, that's when the grant gets kept at 100,000, where then up to a total of R1 million, then 900,000 of that will be a loan and 100,000 of that will be a grant. Maximum repayment terms are 36 months, which they are currently under review. Interest rate is fixed at 5%, and then a 3 months moratorium is given. This is where then we disperse to your suppliers, we pay your rental, we pay the salaries, and then after 3 months of the first disbursements, and then that's when the first installment will come through. This is also to allow you, in instance of a restaurant, allow you to set up everything so that the store can be operational. You set up the store, you hire your employees, and then you start operating. We give you a bit of time for you to generate some sort of revenue. Then you can start paying us after 3 months. Then maybe if then the store is not complete within those 3 months, you have every right to come back to us and say, look, we are behind schedule. Can you review this 3 months period? Then it can be extended, but then you are the one that has to take the initiative, as you are the one that is aware of where the project currently is at. These are the type of businesses that we get involved in the township: clothing and textile, bakeries and confectionaries, Chisanyam and cooked food, the retail, including restaurant, cars and general dealers, automotive. As we know, we are trying to bring mechanics that are certified in the township so that they can receive jobs from the big, from the big insurance companies. Instead of it being given to a business that is based in the suburbs, it can then the car can be fixed at the township for those that are from the township. Personal care, as you know, the women business is big business. This is where we fund salons, nail techs, barber shops, and then the artisans. These are the eligibility criteria. Each program has its own criteria, but also the other SEDFA criteria does apply. Must always be registered, 100% South African owned. Employees must be at least 70% South African. And then those that are not South African must have a valid work permit. Enterprise must be operating in the township or a rural area. Its owner must be willing to apply for a business license where it is required. There's other businesses that require a license. Business must be prepared to register with SARS and also UIF, also where it's required, but SARS is a must because each and every business registered in South Africa has to have a tax a certificate or a tax clearance. And also the money that we fund the business with comes from the South African tax base. Also, bank account is very important. No more keeping your money in the mattress or under a sofa. This allows us to see the ins and outs of your bank account if you are indeed generating money and how you are using your money. This is also applicable to all other funding agencies. Sorry, I can't see properly here. Okay, let me close this. They also have Amavulandlela funding scheme. It's not a program, it's a scheme. This is where the people living, this one targets people living with disabilities. They are able to access funding in any other SEDFA, what you call SEDFA programs, but then they have their own customized benefits so that we can assist them to bring them to the bankable stage. We fund from 550,000 to 15 million. We have a prime less 5% interest rate, payments up to 60 months, also normal SEDFA administrative loan fees will apply. This is where you're required to pay an initiation fee upfront if you choose to, or if you have it, or you can get it capitalized on the loan. This does not mean that you must pay a SEDFA agent. No, this one is paid. If you choose the option of paying it upfront, you must pay it to a SEDFA bank account, not a person. Also, this, as I indicated, we have a customer's benefit. At approval, we will assist the applicant with 5% of what they have applied for, not exceeding 75,000. This money goes towards mentoring, technical assistance, sourcing, and negotiating with suppliers. This will be for training. And also, we have a post-approval assistance of up to 350,000, which is where then we bring in a mentor or a coach into the business for up to 2 years. Also have a moratorium of 3 months after the disbursement has taken place. We have also, for those that are manufacturing, for the franchises, manufacturing their products, we also have a small enterprise manufacturing support program. This one focuses on the businesses that are within the manufacturing space. We've also funded almost a similar thing with the other programs: purchase of machinery, working capital, product accreditation. We even purchase a building that you are manufacturing from. If you feel like the rent that you are paying can be able to be used to pay the SEDFA installment, so that after 84 months, the warehouse can belong to you. We do get involved in such. We fund up to 15 million, up to 84 months repayment terms with a 3 months moratorium. It is a blended finance instrument, which is it's a grant, it's a loan. It's a loan that comes with the grant. The 20% grant portion is determined using a weighted scorecard where we look at the number of jobs created, the Black ownership within the business, then that will determine how much loan you get. The loan is limited to 20% of what you have applied for. It is at a prime lending rate. Again, we have its own eligibility criteria, registered entity, be 100% South African owned, having been operational for at least 2 years prior to application, be predominantly Black owned, and have a Black management of at least 51%, be registered and compliant with SARS. We also have what we call the Youth Challenge Fund, which is the fund that I administer or manage. This one focuses on the youth between the ages of 18 to 35. They must be registered or willing to register with SARS and UIF, 100% South African owned. The youth must be involved in the day-to-day operations of the business, especially the main applicant. In this fund, we do not want to see window dressing or what we call where people bring in people that are young, but then they are not the true owners of this business. We do look at such. This one is specifically designed for the youth. As we know, the youth employment in South Africa is standing at 62%, which does not It's not for good view. So this is why this fund was created, for the youth to create jobs for themselves and also for the South African population. Under this fund, we have a startup limit and a growth limit. A startup limit of is 2 million and a growth limit of 15 million. Growth limit is those that have been operating for longer. They want to expand their businesses. They want to bring in new machines or something else. Under this fund, we have what we call the red channel. The red channel focuses on technology, innovation, and green economy, and then also what we call the blue channel. The blue channel focuses on mostly retail businesses, which is your franchising, your logistics, your manufacturing. Under the blue channel startups, red channel startups, we have a loan from 60% and a grant of up to 40%. And then the blue channel, a loan of from 70% and a grant of up to 30%. And those then that are coming for the growth blended finance limit is from 80% loan and up to 20% grant. Here also we use a weighted scorecard. The youth ownership in the business matters very much. The sector that you're involved in, the number of jobs that you've created will count towards the grant. It is fixed at 5% up to 60 months repayment terms with the 3 months moratorium on capital and interest. This is what we usually look at. How an application should be packaged. Must always have a cash flow projections, a loan breakdown of what you are going to use the money for, supporting codes, also personal income and expenditure, so that we can determine how much salary can be able to draw in the business, proof of own contribution, if you have, and also the source. We do not want to be seen to be promoting money laundering. As I indicated, if you're judgment, always go and negotiate with the creditors. Historic financial statements, if you have been existing for more than a year. Management accounts, if you have been also are required if you have been operational. Debtors age analysis, creditors if you have any. 6 months bank statement for both personal and business. A lease agreement for where you'll be operating from is very important, so that we know where to find you, and also to make sure that the assets that we had purchased for you are at a safe space and are looked at properly. For those then that have project plan and projections for contract financing, a copy of contract order if you have it, and also franchise agreements if you have been given the rights to operate a franchise. We also do FICA on our clients and marriage certificate where applicable. And also, if you are married in community of property, you will be required to get your wife to give you the rights to apply for the financing, because do not be seen a situation where you apply behind your wife and then or your husband, and then they found out later that you have a debt with us, and then it creates some issues for us in the long run. For those we do require a CV so that we get to know who are we funding and what experience do you have. For TRAP, only a company profile is required, but then for the amounts that are above R1 million, we require a business plan, surety form. Sorry, Chair, I don't know what's going on in my screen. Someone is writing on the screen and it's disruptive.
Let me check.
Also, we do require, in some instances, and when we realize you do have some sort of surety, we will then take it so that you de-risk your application. Also, this is how a business plan should be packaged, should look like for ease of assessing from our side. And one of the things that we look at is the market analysis, target market, market strategy and sales strategy, because for a business to exist, there has to be a market. For a business to be sustainable, they have to have a portion of the market. Financial model, you also look at it and to see if what you are proposing does make sense. This is our application or our funding model, where an applicant go to our website, they then create a profile in our portal. And then after they have created that profile, an email will be sent to their email address, confirming that they have registered. Then they can be able to log in and out. This does not mean the applicant has applied. You have just mainly inquired about the application. Then you can start the application process, where you will ask for your ID number, your CIPC number, and then you go through all the stages. So you choose the funding that you want, you choose the business sector that you are in, so that we can direct you to the product that might be suitable for you. I have lost my, sorry, Chair, I have lost my presentation. I don't know what happened.
Apologies. Could you reshare? I accidentally.
Please let me know when you see it.
Yes, we see it.
Okay, thank you. And then in there, you then be required options to choose the funding that you are looking for. After that, you move to the next stage, where then you'll be required to submit the documents as per what you have chosen. Like for franchising, you'll be given at least, you'll be asked to provide a franchising agreement or offer if you have not signed yet, but then being offered a proof that you have been offered to operate a franchise, because in some instances the agreements come in at a later stage when you have received funding. And then after all of that has been collected, you submit application, then you get an application number. That means you have an application with us. That application number is used to follow up with us, as this is your reference number whenever you communicate with SEDFA, where you're asking for the status update of your application. And then this app number, if you are funded, you do your reference even on when you are paid. We are dispersing monies to you, and also when we are collecting the debit order from your account. Then a basic assessment will be done by the region, because our applications are sent to the region closer to you using the address that you have provided when you applied. Please be mindful of that, colleagues, because in most of the time, people will be based in Joburg, and then maybe they moved from the Eastern Cape, but then they did not update their addresses on their CIPC records. And then now your application gets allocated in the Eastern Cape, whereas you are in Joburg, or vice versa. It is important to make sure that you use the address of where you are based, so that your application can be allocated closer to where you are. Because it becomes a nightmare, and when we are assisted by someone that is on the other province. Then from that basic assessment, where we check all the documents are there, all the information that you have provided is correct, because in some instances, the applicants will submit blank pages for them, because our system does not read the documents yet. Then people just put the same document twice, so that the system can allow them to submit the application. Please make sure you submit the correct document, because this delays the process in assessing application. Now it allows a back and forth communication between us and you, whereas we could be using that time to assess your application, so that we can move to the next part. If you are not happy with the basic assessment, we will let you know, and then we'll tell you to provide these outstanding documents or any other additional information that's required. And then we'll give you a time frame, maybe within 7 days. And then if you haven't received a response within 7 days, we'll close the application, and then you have to go and start again with the application process. But then if all is good, then we will also indicate to you, receive your application, we are happy, we are busy processing it, and then we'll do due diligence, where then we assess the actual application, the actual contents of the application. And then once that is done, we are happy, and then we'll write up a proposal that will be sent to a committee. Then the deal will be presented to a committee. No one person decides on the deal. It's being decided by a committee. We have different committees for each program, and also for each funding limit. And then a committee will deliberate. If they are happy with the presentation or the proposal sent, they will then approve your application or decline your application. A decline, you also send a decline letter approval. Then that is when we will send you a term sheet with the facility letter. Approval also comes with terms and conditions. Again, for a franchise, we'll say we want then the franchise agreement that you then indeed will allow you to go back to the franchise. Said, look, I've received funding from SEDFA. Now I can start the process of getting the rights, and then we on our side will want the agreements and any other documents that might be required on our side, tax clearances, your rental hypothec, or if you are renting a space, so that when you have issues with the landlord, the equipment that you have bought for you won't be taken by the landlord, as it still belongs to us. And then if you are happy, you can sign the term sheet and the facility letter, and then that kicks off the legal agreements side. We will request legal agreements. Legal agreements will be prepared as per the term sheet and the facility letter. Then we will send you the legal agreements for you to read, understand what you are signing up for, to not get excited and just sign, because there are obligations on your side. We have obligations. You also have obligation on your side. So you must be very aware of what is required from you. As I indicated, applications are approved with conditions precedent on them. You'll be required to submit those conditions. Submit also the disbursement document, which is your codes. If you are using codes, pro forma invoices, if you are using pro forma invoices, and also what you call invoices. If maybe your supplier releases invoices before you pay, we accept them, and then we do background checks on those invoices to check if the supplier exists, is up to date at SARS, if they are registered for VAT, if they have put in a VAT number and their invoices or code, it makes sure that the VAT number indeed does belong to them. And also, so that also allows you as a client to claim VAT if the invoices, like for a vehicle and the machine, comes with a VAT, because there's a big VAT portion that you can be able to claim from. So with that, we also protecting you. And then after all of those things have been taken care of, then the disbursement process starts. And then we collate all those information, put it together, do the background checks, then send the package to finance, then for them to pay. After they have paid, we will send you the proof of payments. We will make sure also you go to your suppliers. We send also to your suppliers, and then they deliver. If there's any equipment delivered, we will come in and check if they have delivered the right equipment. Also, it is your responsibility to make sure that the equipment delivered is of the standard that you have requested from the supplier. It is your responsibility. We are just only facilitating on this side, on our side. After all that is done, then you'll be handed over to the post-investment monitoring division. This is the people then that you'll be communicating with going forward. Any issues that you might have to your business, if you see that you cannot pay for the next 2 months, these are the people that you can contact and speak to them. And then also, if you have issues in your business, speak to these guys, but then the proposal comes from you. If you are saying the sales have dropped this month and I see that I won't make next 2 months installments, speak to them, propose something to them. They are not going to be the one that come into your business and then tell you what to do. You tell us what you need. We assess what you are saying or your proposal, and then we see the best possible solution to it. You are the one that provides solutions, because at the end of the day, you are the one that will be responsible for the solution that you provide. And then the post-investment stage takes place, and and this process is supposed, the first process up to basics assessment is supposed to take for 42 days, and then from due diligence up to disbursement is supposed to take at least 3 months, as there is a lot of back and forth that is involved. And hopefully with the new measure that is done now, we will be more efficient as we are required. Not sure, trying to move. These are our contact details for business development support, which is your old SEDA. There is a number, and also lending and investment, which is the old SEFA. There are the numbers. And also we are available in the social medias. And also, if you are not happy with the SEDFA employee, you can write to our complaints department if you need More information, you can always send it for lending and investment support. You can send to our helpline. Then there are people there that will explain what the question that or the information that you are looking for. Also, you have complaints, you can send your complaint there. If you already have an existing application, you please quote the application number that you have received. Also, if you're not happy with my presentation, you can also send it there at complaints if I'm not clear enough. We are available at on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Most of our activities on Facebook, where we communicate any new products that are coming through. Also, our outreach programs closer to you. We also communicate them through those channels. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zolisanan. I think we have all paid attention to all the presentation that was done by me, by Mr. Patla, by Zolisanani. Now it's time for us to ask important questions so that by the end of the day, we understand why this MOU is in place and what is it that we want to achieve out of it. We are still going to do an implementation plan that we will also share, but I think that it is important that you raise your questions with us at this stage. I'm going to open up the space for questions and answers. And if you have a question, I see somewhere posted on the chats. Spamandla Buthelezi asked, I think Olisanani, could you please go back and explain the offer to operate if a franchise agreement is not yet at the franchisee's disposal? And then Teboho asked, thank you for the presentation. After approval, how much time are you given to confirm if you are taking the offer or not? So I think those relates to Zolisanani. Zolisanani, do you want to go at those two?
Thank you, Chair. I think the first question was in relation to the offer by the franchise. You'll also help me here and Tatabakatu. I believe when you have applied for a franchise, you are given an offer to say, look, we are offering you the space or the store, and then go out and look for funding. This is no way saying that this is your store. This will be completed up when then you pay over the monies to us. Then once then we have funded you, you can take we have approved you, you can take the, what you call the facility letter to the franchise and say, here, SEDFA has then offered to assist me in acquiring this franchise. And then the franchisor will then draft the final franchise agreement. And then that is when then you will have full or right ownership over the franchise. Am I correct?
Yes, you wouldn't ordinarily operate a franchise-based business if you're a franchisee without having had gone through the process of actually having signed the franchise agreement. So I think that point is clear. And then there was an issue about the time frame within which you...
Our time frames for the inquiry or for the basic assessment to take place, we are supposed to be done within 42 days. And it has been a challenge for the past 2 to 3 years on our side as we have been going through the major process. We could not hire staff. We didn't have adequate staff. We could not hire staff permanently. Staff came and go. So it was a bit of an issue. It's still a bit of an issue even now because staff placement is not yet complete. But then once that is complete, 42 days is supposed to be the number of days your application should take for you to receive the first response. And also the whole process now of funding and up to disbursement is supposed to be at least 3 months. But then each project differ, requirements differ. For an example, for a service station, there's that process of applying for the license from the Department of Energy, which might take a bit of time. Then we only disperse when that license has been granted by the Department of Energy. So each business will differ, but at least 3 months, the process should be done.
Then I see Amanda Baloyi, your hand is up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fred, and thank you for the presentations. My question is, if in addition to the working capital and franchise fee, let's say for working capital, I did not opt for an existing building, but I am building the building. So I have land and I want to construct for the building because of the purposes of the type of franchise. Do you fund the construction of the building as well?
Yes, we do fund the construction of the building. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention, that unencumbered fund from the franchisor, we also require proof that you have it in your bank account, but then we do fund the construction of as long as it is within our funding range. And secondly, if then there is someone is echoing me. If there is also another funder, we do also co-fund. Let's say you are constructing a service stations, which is in the north of 30 million. Our funding is up to 15. Then maybe the bank also says we'll give you 15. So we then do co-fund the whole construction of the project.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question by Nozugo. I have the existing application that done more 42 days ago. Franchise approved by the franchisor and all relevant documents submitted were assessed by SEDFA. Till today, no correspondence.
I can send that to you, Mr. Makato, and you can send it to me, then I'll follow up on her behalf, because then that should have received a response by now, especially when it's a franchise.
So are you on the line?
Sorry, Fred, who were you? Wasn't clear.
Nozugo.
Oh, yes, I'm on the line. I've noted it, although it's been quite some time. We've been contacting the branch, no correspondence, no nothing. And
so he says send it to me.
It's quite a better. Yes, it's quite a better.
Send the query to me, then I will engage with them.
Okay,
and also please,
I think you could also note there, how do I, maybe on the chat, you could also provide the details and everything else, or to contact, probably in the chat, it will be much more helpful for me as well. Okay, thanks for the response.
I see the one by Lolo Taunyan. What happens if a food franchise requires 2 million reflected in your bank account during the first application process in order to be considered? I think I can answer that. So I don't know whether the question relates to whether this can be funded by SEDFA or not, but that's a requirement. So I don't know whether was this a question or just a query. I remember that each franchise system or franchisor have their own requirements. So for them to approve your application, you have to meet their requirements. If you don't meet their requirements, then you've got a problem. But if your issue is in relation to funding, whether in terms of this MOU that can be funded, is something that you have to engage with FASA and SEDFA and also see how we can help, but also the franchisor. Because this MOU also calls for innovation, funding innovation from the franchisors as well. It's not only one-way stream. We have to partner as 4 entities. FASA, SEDFA, franchisor, and franchisee.
Fred, I think Tebogo has a question. She says she can't find the raise hand option.
I see there's a question from Joe. It says, do you fund franchises in the areas of education and real estate? Do you fund franchisors?
Yes,
I
we
think
do fund.
that's,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I think maybe the question is incomplete, or do you fund franchisors? But you can answer the first part. The question is complete. Fund franchisors in respect of what?
In the real estate space, not yet, but under education, yes, we do fund franchisors as long as they show sign of commercial viability. And we do fund franchisors. We have funded a lot of franchisors under different sectors. And I also say there's a follow-up question on expansions. Yes, we also do fund the expansions as long as they also show that once you have expanded, you'll be able to generate more revenue. We do look at that.
Right. There was a question by Amanda. Oh, I think that was answered. Sometimes we go to the DFA for funding. They say the window has closed and we will be informed if a new call is made. Does this apply to franchising? What about asset or equipment finance? Yeah. Unmute yourself, Solisani. Please, thank you.
Not sure. Is this really directed to me?
I think so. I'm not sure. It just says sometimes when Amanda, would you like to?
Okay, sorry, there was a typo there. Yes, it is addressed to you. We've had cases where we would go wanted to send applications for specific things like equipment, and we're told that no, the call has been closed. We will open a window again and people can apply at a specific time within a specific period. So I'm asking if that applies to franchising as well, and also if it applies to if this call does still exist, and perhaps what is its purpose.
Oh, okay. Now I understand better. That was the Asset Assist program that is run through our business development support. It was targeting enterprises that were looking assistance or to purchase equipment and also require a bit of working capital. It was not specifically for franchises, but it was for businesses, and that one is usually open around January and February. And then they are also in the process of they're in the approval process of those applications, but it's not part of the funding support, it's part of the business development support.
Amanda, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
A question from Tebogo. She says, thank you for the presentation. After approval, how much time are you given to confirm if you're asking the offer or not?
Okay, you are given I think 14 days to accept the offer that has been given to you, and then you are given at least 3 months to sign the legal agreements. And then within 6 months, all the disbursement of the funds should have taken place.
Thank you. Then Lolo is asking, what happens if a food franchise requires 2 million to be reflected in your bank account during the first application process in order to be considered.
We have done that one.
Oh, have you? Okay.
So I think the next one is mindful. Where can we engage with FASA for franchising consultation services to determine lucrative franchise opportunities for a first time? Let me maybe post.
Yes, I have responded. I have responded.
Okay.
Then Zandiswa. I have a question. My question is, I'm having 2 different companies. Is there a possibility that they can be funded both? It's a Tishinyama and construction.
Yes, we can look at that also, but we will also look at the exposure of what you call debt exposure of the the person that is running the business. But and if both businesses are commercially viable and then show an ability to repay the loan portion side, they can be looked at. But also the individual that is behind the business, their exposure, debt exposure is also looked at.
Then there's a question by Joe. You indicated that the funding is business operating locally. What if the business has opportunities to expand through exports to other countries or cross-border franchising? Would you fund that?
If the operations of the business are within South Africa, as much as you are exporting, we are. But then if you are running it outside of the country, we cannot be involved. And also if, let's say, most of our franchises are of foreign origin, we do fund as long as the operations are here within the South African borders. And also for the purchase of any equipment that you might require outside the border, we do buy them for you. Yes, and then it's your responsibility to make sure that the supplier that you have sourced is reliable and is also valid, and then we will assist you in paying for such.
Question by Sisipamandla. Is it possible to apply for the credit guarantee scheme specifically to collateralize the franchise fee? Meaning, can SEDFA guarantee be used to cover the lack of security or collateral when a franchisee needs funding to pay the franchise fee upfront? This is especially for franchises like Fish and Chips Co. under R1 million.
I think Pradon can come through for that question.
He says, can he apply for a credit facility scheme whereby if the franchisor requires a franchise fee, can funding from SEDFA cover that?
Pradon, are you in the platform?
Don.
Yes, colleagues, I hope you can hear me, but I'm sitting in the lobby here. There's a bit of background
Yes, we can
noise.
hear you.
Yeah.
No, we are fine.
Yeah, so this is one of those questions where we need to take it offline and see if there's a partnership that we can form. Because what I'm understanding, we're talking about a franchisor here, we're not talking about a franchisee. So if you're saying a franchisor would want to cover the upfront fee, can we provide a guarantee for that? Remember again that if we cover a guarantee, it means there must be a commercial lender who's providing the funding. And then we come through our wholesale instrument providing a guarantee. So if the question is in that direction, we can potentially look at structuring something. But as I say, we need to have an offline discussion to understand exactly the franchisor, how do they want to partner, which bank are we dealing with, and we can pull in our guys from the credit guarantee scheme. Chair, I hope it helps. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe just to add, in terms of our processes or in terms of our programs that we have to engage with the franchisors and in terms of our implementation plan to engage in that level. Hence, we spoke about innovative funding schemes or mechanisms that we need to put in place, because that is one of the issues about the upfront fee, which is more thorny for most of the entrepreneurs that wants to get into franchising. So we need participation of franchisors from that angle. Then Mwako says, I heard Zolisanani talking about surety, meaning that if one doesn't have security, won't be funded.
I said the suretyship is optional. It's dependent on whether we do see that you do have something that you can put upfront on your side. You have money in your bank account that you can use for own contribution. Also, you have assets that you can put in as suretyship, but it is not a requirement for everyone. As we know, the type of businesses or people that we fund usually do not have such, but then when there is such available, we do ask for it, because if you do not, from our side, if you put in a suretyship, it means that you are fully committed to your business, and it also allows us, it also help us or help you to de-risk the loan portion part of the funding.
Fred, you're on mute.
On a lighter note, I see Gertrude Sikoto saying, good morning, everyone. Please.
That one you can pass.
Please, that are wearing not pajamas and those that eating, including other personal stuff, please switch off your cameras. Does SEDFA request equity on franchising funding that is Nozugo?
No, we don't.
Mary Moga, good day. My name is Mary. Do you fund for security services suppliers, especially startup?
I do not hear the sector that you are specifying.
I think it's more on security services suppliers. I think
security companies.
I think we need more information on this. What is it that they are supplying?
Yeah, but
Mary,
if it's
are
a
you there?
security company. Okay.
Mary Moga, are you there? Is Mary there?
Chair, if I may, sorry, I think I can read the question. It's very clear. This is not an exclusion because the question reads, good day, my name is Mary. Do you fund security services suppliers? So security services suppliers. So if you are in that business where you're supplying security services of some sort, it's not an exclusion. We can look at it.
Then we have question from Duduzi. Are there any franchise opportunities in transport in industries? I can obviously respond to that. Yes, there are. You can go to our website and look for our members who offer transport services or automotive services. I don't see any other new questions. Any other new questions?
I think the Tebogo might have another question, Fred. Tebogo, if you can unmute yourself.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Solisani, with your inside information, especially about the 14 days acceptance letter, because I previously had a bittersweet relationship with SEDFA where I was given 8 hours to make a 6.1 million offer deal. So I think with the information that you've empowered me with, I'll be able to go forward and utilize it. So my question now, I just wanted to find out with the franchise, Obviously, with your proposal, you'll be disclosing information like, for example, if it's a food franchise, you'd be displaying information like your hotspot location. I'd like to find out, are there any signing of NDA, or are there any measures that are put in place to protect the SMMEs? And also, have there been incidents where you guys were in a process of funding and only to find out that, maybe someone with investors got in and took over? Thank you.
I think Pradon will assist me on this one, but I will answer the first portion. Yes, we do sign non-disclosures. It's prohibited in the organization to share information of the client, be it FICA-related information. We are not supposed to share. We are not supposed to share the contents of the client's proposal. I don't know any client that has suffered such with us yet. Maybe Pradon, since he has been here longer than me, can assist or with that regard.
Thanks, Zoli. Sorry, I missed this. That's the second part of the question. Can you just quickly repeat that? Sorry.
I think the question said if there's been an instance where a client's information reached a third party and then the third party maybe used that information to their own benefit.
Oh, no, Zoli, you're correct. We have been seeing that, but it's interesting. Currently, we're investigating a similar case because I already did mention that we've got a complaints and appeals division. So through that, if there's something like that happens, our client can lodge that complaint and then we investigate. We're currently investigating that allegation. There's a client who has made that allegation. So we're investigating. From what I can say, I can tell you now, it's not something really that has got substance. So we don't see those things in the market, practically speaking. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Any other question before we hand over to the chairperson of FASA? I'm gonna have to auction time. Any other questions? Are you happy?
Yes, the one from Tulani. Businesses that have been funded by SEDFA that are in distress. How flexible is the funder in assisting the entrepreneur?
Can quickly take that one. And yeah, we've got a unit called the post-investment unit. I think in that process flow that Zulu said, if you follow those blocks, post-disbursement, we've got a unit that looks after the businesses that were funded. Should some of the businesses things go south, we've got a post-investment unit that looks after those businesses in distress.
Thank you.
Just to add on, Pradon, as I indicated in the presentation, it is the responsibility of the SME or the business owner to contact their post-investment monitoring agent, and then and indicate that, look, business is going under distress. I'm foreseeing issues forward. Can we sit and discuss on how we can work around this? Because it's usually the clients who sit knowing that there are issues, and then we found out later far in the process that there are issues, and then now it becomes difficult on our side. But then if you approach us first, it makes life easier. Just like the bank, if you approach the bank first and tell them of your issues, you are allowed to negotiate new payment terms. You can have a payment break. You can say, look, pay the interest only for now, while we park the capital so that your debt does not go up, it doesn't become too much. You are given options, but you are the one that has to approach us, because you are the driver of the ship. You see the iceberg from far, and then how then you go around the iceberg. You also provide the solution with regards to that, and then we put that into test. After putting that into test, and then we come into an agreement, and then you also are responsible for sticking on the making sure that your other side of the agreement is implemented, just like we will implement our other side.
Fred, there seems to be one more question from
We
Shumanda.
have, yes, Pamela says, I'm not sure if I understood your response to my latter question. Specifically, is it permissible under the CGS to apply for a loan guaranteed by SEDFA? Pamela, we no longer have SEDFA, we've got SEDFA. That includes the franchise fee as part of the total financing package, even if I lack traditional or collateral. In essence, can the CGS be used to unlock full funding for the franchise? And can Ms. Michelle Voges say how such an agreement can be made if SEDFA, I cannot scroll down the question, no. Such a can commit to this specialized financing?
Yeah, quickly, as I say, and I still emphasize that we need to take a side discussion regarding this question and deep dive so that we don't just give a short answer in this session. Remember, the issue of the franchise fee is not a lender's, in this case, SEDFA's requirement. It is a requirement by the franchisor. So
Yes.
if you go to a franchisor and the franchisor says, you can apply for the 100%, it costs 2 million, you can apply 100%. If the numbers make sense, SEDFA will not ask for a franchise fee. So the franchise fee is mainly asked by the franchisor. But now if you start borrowing, it's no longer unencumbered because the franchise fee has to be unencumbered. So it's a deeper discussion that we must have around this kind of a question, Chair. Thank you.
Yes. I think without much delay, as now we are running into dark waters, we are eating into the chairperson's item. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for attending the session. But then, 3 announcements in terms of our events. We have the World Franchise Day coming up. We're going to launch it, and we will be commemorating it with our mother body, World Franchise Council throughout the world on the 11th of June. So watch up the space and watch up for our updates. Will be hosted by Old Mutual. We have 4 breakfast sessions coming up. Watch out for the space, sponsored by APSA. We have the Golf Day, which is coming up. So towards the beginning of October, watch up the space, including our conference. So we are still finalizing details. So we have the monthly virtual network session where some of these issues will be dealt with. Please attend those and subscribe to the monthly virtual network session and also any other workshops updates that will be coming. I'm going to hand over to the chairperson of FASA, Mr. Aya Ngolo, for vote of thanks and closure. Aya, over to you.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for the session, colleagues. As you may know, I'm Aya Bulela, the current chairperson of the FASA board, and I also represent the franchise, the OBC group, Better Butchery. And as the current chairperson of the association, I would like to sincerely thank the Department of Small Business Development for facilitating the strategic partnership between FASA and its members and SEDFA. This collaboration marks a significant step in our mission to drive inclusive economy, growth, and foster sustainable entrepreneurship. Together, we are committed to creating sustainable jobs, empowering PDIs, business ownership, developing township and township-owned business franchisees, advancing franchise management education, stimulating funding opportunities, and lastly, opening investment opportunities within this collaboration between the 3 entities that will now allow the PDIs now to have the opportunity to now become not only business operators, but also create sustainable jobs within the franchising sector. I would like to say on the behalf of the association, we are truly grateful for this partnership, which represents a powerful opportunity to unlock the franchising industry's full potential as a driver of economic transformation, job creation, and community upliftment. Thank you once again for your support and commitment to the shared vision, and I hope to hear from every one of you soon. Thank you. Over to you, Chair.
From the old Before we close the session?
Apologies, Fred, we didn't hear.
Saying any other remarks from you before you shut down the system?
I don't think so. Seems
You are
everybody's
happy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Wontate Don, Wontate Philippi.
Thanks, everyone.
And everyone. Thank you. Let's get engaging. Let's make this work. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your rest of the days.
Thanks.